about ready to come out.
Diesel oil.
So Clay discovered, see the bell housing right there is cracked. See the chunks of metal there, and if you can see down there in the bottom, over in the notch where the fork for the clutch is resting, there's chunks of metal in there.
And it gets worse on the other side.
Yeah, it's cracked into several pieces on the other side also. It's a little hard to see for the wiring, but I don't think an aluminum bell housing probably was the best idea, cast aluminum. Obviously, for some reason, they used a cast aluminum, but it doesn't like it when the motor mounts are shot, like these are. These are wore out.
Look how bad this one is.
Yeah, see that one over there?
It
doesn't even sit straight in there.
It was sitting on the frame. See right over there? The motor was sitting on the frame. It
Yeah.
wasn't even supported by
See there on top of that motor mount? That's the motor was just resting right on top of this frame, which probably would explain why the dash is all broke up in this truck too.
Probably.
But yeah, when you send the vibration of that motor through the frame instead into the rubber on the mounts, it tends to get hard on stuff. So hopefully we're going to fix all this, and Clay was saying it looks like probably we just need to get a new bell housing instead of trying to repair this one. So I guess I'm going to do some searching for a new bell housing. Alright, so Clay's been hard at work. You have, admit it. Go ahead, you can admit it. Yeah. So this is the block for the motor that come out of my dually. That's a block for a 6.5 liter Detroit diesel. Clay has disassembled it almost completely. There's the pistons. Here's the crank, and then you see the pile of all the miscellaneous parts down there. There's the head, I think those are head bolts, rocker arms. Clay discovered it's got roller lifters in it, push rods, heads. There's the oil pump. Now, here's the timing chain cover on the front that also holds the water pump, and look what Clay discovered. You see that? That is JB Weld. Can you flip it over, Clay? Look at the inside of that. Okay, you see this arc? Okay, that's not cast into that pan. That's where the harmonic balancer got wore out and wore into the pan. That's actually a thin layer of aluminum that's pushed back with JB Weld supporting it behind it. So Clay thinks that's the culprit that was causing all of the majority of the oil leak on the front of this motor. Clay discovered that this motor has been into before. The pistons were all marked. They weren't.
And there was no gaskets except for head gaskets.
Okay, the only head gaskets he said or the only gaskets that were on it were head gaskets. He said. He's currently trying to remove the gear for the oil pump. Ah, and there it is.
Something went flying. I think it was O-ring.
I think it was an oil ring.
Yeah.
It didn't go very
It would
far.
have been nice to know where it was at, but I figured it out.
Now he can pull the cam, and the cam is, you can see, look right down there through the lifter holes. The cam's still in. Cam's the only thing left in the block, right? You fixing to pull it out? All right, looky there.
I got the bearing caps in there still. I put them in there to hold the whole bearing thing.
Yeah, the bearings on the crank weren't the worst bearings that we'd ever seen. And if you can look, the cylinder walls are actually pretty decent. All 8 of them are the same way. There's no ridge. Well, I take it back. Just a fuzz. Just a fuzz. Not much of one. But cylinders are in pretty good shape. And of course it makes a mess, this old diesel oil does. We have made some pretty good stains on the shop floor. But it's okay.
Let's get this oil filter, adapter deal, oil pressure sensor or switch, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, okay.
And you take the motor mounts off, and this little fitting for the turbo out, and the drain for the turbo, and the entire block.
Here's the cam bearings. So I can wipe a little more of that off so you can see how bad they are. Oh yeah, there's actually some grooves in that bearing right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. You see the grooves right there. Yeah, cam bearings are definitely shot. And it could be that when they rebuilt the motor, they just did a quick rebuild, maybe threw some rings on it and threw some bearings on the crank and didn't even bother with the cam because they didn't want to fool with taking the cam bearings out.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna have to do a full kit on because there's some gouges on a couple of pistons.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, but there's not anything in the cylinder wall, so it makes me believe that.
Maybe it was prior to the rebuild.
I don't know if these are standard size pistons or overboard pistons. They don't say.
And this is the kind of mess you get.
It might be aftermarket piston.
That's the diesel oil. It's gotten outside of his layer of kitty litter.